For our October Roaster's Choice, we've got 2 coffees from a single washing station in the Sidama region of Ethiopia. Now these coffees, the only kind of distinction between them is that they've been processed in a different way. Now that word processing has connotations of some kind of artificial method that's been applied to our foods, but that's not what it means in the context of coffee. The term processing simply means a method by which the beans have been removed from the cherries. And that really does have a huge impact on the overall character and flavour of the coffee.
This month, without fail, I definitely chose the natural processing method coffee. It is one of my favourite processing methods. I really, really enjoy them. I enjoy roasting them, definitely enjoy drinking them. On this particular washing station, the natural processed method here is where the cherries are laid out on raised coffee beds, maximum amount of airflow, cherries are turned regularly to dry, which encourages even drying. This happens for about 12 to 15 days, dependent on the temperatures. Before then, the cherries are taken over to the mill to remove the beans. So when you're looking at the green beans themselves, it is really obvious which ones are the processing methods between the natural and a washed, for example. So the natural processed beans have this yellow hue to them. Clearly there's a very sweet smell when you open the coffee sack itself. It really is quite distinct. The smell is beautiful. So yeah, and you can see a little bit, in my view, a bit more of the chaff on the outside of the greens themselves. Whereas on the washed, it has more of this blue-green tint to the colour, for want of a better way of explaining. Again, the beans are the same size and everything because they're from the same washing station. But yeah, it's definitely the colour. The colour gives it away. So one of the reasons why I love natural processed coffees is this full-bodied, oodles of sweetness, lots of sweetness in it. Less acidity in them, even though I do enjoy acidity in coffee, but these natural processed have that less amount of acidity and more of a, I can only describe it as a kind of fermenty, winey kind of character to them. Really, really enjoy them. So on this particular coffee, the way that I've roasted it, you're getting this lovely punchy amount of berry flavours at the start. This is where that small bit of acidity that might be in there is coming through. That then follows on to quite a winey, again, this is the fermenty bit coming in, a bit of a winey flavour to it. And the end flavour is definitely honey. It's so sweet. Everything about it is just sweeties in a cup. Love it.
Now I've selected the washed coffee from this particular washing station. The aim of washed coffees is to remove the bean from the cherries kind of very early on in the process. The first part of it is to actually almost pop the cherries out of the beans. They're passed through rollers that squeeze the cherries, the beans pop out, and they've still got a lot of sticky mucilage on the outside. So they're fermented in water for 24 to 48 hours to eventually remove that sticky part of the cherry. And finally, they're dried on raised beds to achieve about 10 to 12% moisture content. Washed coffees will have more of a heightened acidity. There'll be a brightness in the cup. You can also expect a little bit less sweetness and a reduced body. The kind of fruit tones you're going to expect as well are more kind of citrusy, tropical in nature. So this is a great example of a washed coffee. It's got that lovely bright acidity right at the front. I would describe it as a grape-like acidity, and that's followed by this lovely soft apple sweetness. Think something like a Cox's apple. And then right at the end, you're getting this wonderful honey sweetness. And I think this is what binds it to its natural counterpart. They both have a honey finish, but they're very different types of honey. And running through this, now we haven't put this on the bags, but running through this, we have a pineapple chunk tone, this kind of tropical note coming through. Remember those pineapple chunks you used to enjoy as a kid? They're in here if you can find it. Really, really delicious coffee.